And here we go. Welcome to my Cheltenham 2022 preview. First of all, how good is it going to be here in that famous Roar? We all missed it last year. We've 28 unbelievable races we will take a look at over the 4 days. I'm going to go through every race day by day and hopefully we find some nice price winners along the way. And again, guys, always bet responsibly. Wild Sports are running some fantastic offers this year for all customers. Money back as a free bet if you finish second or third to the SP Fab and all 28 races. You can get best odds guaranteed on singles and multiples up to 48 hours before the race. And there's going to be extra place races every day. And for Boyle Extra card holders, which is only a matter of signing up, it only takes 2 minutes to get a Boyle Extra card. You can have money back as a free bet on all losers for the first race every day. So that's a great insurance there, right there. And if you bet €50 on Cheltenham Week, you get €10 in free bets. You also will have the chance of having enhanced prices every day, which could be a positive with some of these short price favourites that might push out a little bit on the day. So that's for the Boyle Extra. Again, head over to the Boyle Sports website to see some of the rest of the offers they have going on. Now, let us kick off with race one and day one. It's the Supreme Novice Hurdle. A race Willie Mullins has farmed throughout the years, and again, he's stacked with the entries here. In the race, Sir Gerhard tops the market at 2-1, but for me, Willie's other runner, Dicer Dynamo. I'd imagine he's going to go here. He's been electric all year. And if he settles, I think he's going to do a job here. I think this Dicer Dynamo. But for me, the one I'm sweet on each way is Kilcrut. He's around 6-1, 7-1 at the minute. He might go out a little bit on the day. Depends what stays in the race and depends on what comes in for support on the day. But 6 or 7-1, I think he's a fantastic each way bet. He was second in last year's champion bumper behind Sir Gerhard, but in my eyes, he should have won that day. When they met the next day, he firmly put him in his place, beating him by 6.5 lengths in Punchestown. Now, it took him 3 starts to get off the mark over hurdles, but fitted with a tongue-tied last time out, he absolutely boarded up at 21 lengths in Punchestown. And for me, he's the value here. If he hadn't taken 3 attempts to get off the mark, he would be a lot shorter, I think. And I think if he brings that form of last year to this year, which he showed the last day that he is, I think he's a right chance. The second race of the day is the Arkle. It's a Grade 1 Novice Chase over 2 miles, won in recent years by some of the greats, Sprinter Sacker, Duvan, and of course the champion chase favourite of this year, Shishkin. Alan King's Edwardstone heads the market here. Alan has previously won the race with Viport Estes and My Way to Sulzan, so he knows what type of horse it is to win the race. He's an 8-year-old though. That's my only concern, as he don't have a great record in the race. He's been super since going over fences though, and the only 2 times he hasn't won over fences when he either unseated or was brought down. But since he was brought down in Warwick, he's been all class, including bolting up in a Grade 1 Novice by 16 lengths in Sandown, and then 2 very good Grade 2 wins. So for me, he gets my vote here. The one I give an each way shout to is Willie St. Sam, second in the Fred Winter last year, behind Jeff Kidder, who went on to win a Grade 1. His first start over fences, he beat the Devil's Coachman by 9 lengths in Fairyhouse, and then the Devil's Coachman went back over hurdles and won the Boyne Hurdle at Navan. So that form is stacking up well. Now he's 4 lengths to make up with Blue Lord, who is not out of it also, but if he jumps a lot cleaner than he did the last time, and I was watching Barry Garrity talk about him the other day, watched him school in Navan, he said he was electric over him. I think he's a super each way chance here at 8-1. It's worth noting too that Gavin Cromwell has supplemented Gavin Acko for the race too, and he has, the last time I think he supplemented one, he won a champion hurdle, so he's definitely one of note. So that brings us to the third race of day one. It's the Ultimate Handicap Chase, a Grade 3 over 3 miles 1, and it's the first of the big handicaps. Now, a lot of these horses I'm going to select here, they could have 2 or 3 entries and they could turn up somewhere else. So just take a note of the ones that I'm writing in the handicaps, as they might pop in somewhere else and they could win in other races. 2 others, there was a few I scratched out, but 2 that catch my eye are What the first one is fullback for the Shrew Gary Moore. The horse are flying this season. He's having a fantastic season. Son of Sindar's 3 from 9 over fences, including a win here over 3 miles too. In January, he's won over 3 miles. He's lightly raced. He represents, as I said, some of the shrewdest connections in the game. And at 12-1, I think he's a cracking each-way player. The other one is Gordon Elliott's Fakir Delen. Now, he has a couple of entries of 14-1. He was second in the beginners before bolting up in Down Ryle and then backed that up by winning in Thurles. Now, he didn't win by far in Thurles, but I liked that performance in Thurles that day. A horse came to him and he still won. He still was finding a bit more, so I like that. The Champion Hurdle is the feature race of day one, and all eyes are going to be on Honeysuckle. A perfect 14 from 14 and last year's reigning champion. I think she will make it 15 out of 15. Join the greats who've won multiple champion hurdles. She's short though, but I don't really see her being beat. Look, things can always go wrong in the day, but to me, she's the best around at the minute. One I would go with each way or without market is Gordon's Tiafu. This 5-year-old is 6 from 7. He's only blotting his copybook was when he finished second to Jeff Kidder, who, as I said before, he's won a grade 1 and he won last year's Fred Winter. But he turned that form around when he trounced Jeff Kidder and Colixios by 12 and 8 lengths in the grade 3 at Naas. He was last seen bolting up in the grade 3 and going by 11 lengths, and he could be the one to chase her home here. But for me to be all looking at her tail again, and hopefully because she is great for racing. The 5th race then is a mare's grade 1 hurdle over 2 miles, and Henry's Tell Me Something Girl is top of the market here in the same colours of Honeysuckle Kenny Alexander. We tipped her here last year when she won the grade 2 novices. She's had a similar prep this year, and she was an eye catcher again last time out. I can see her back in that run up and go and win here. So for me, Tell Me Something Girl to give Rachel Blackmore and Henry the Bromhead a quick fire double. Queen's Brook, though, for Gordon Elliott could be the one to pick up the pieces if Tell Me Something Girl is not back to herself. At 5-1, she was second to last day to Born Victory, who she reopposes again, but she was given weight away, I think, £4 that day. She was only beaten a length and a half, but she done all her best work late on. And going by what Gordon was saying, it was more of a prep for this race. So Queen's Brook is the one for me, the bit of value at 5-1, but Tell Me Something Girl for the win. The 450 then is the Fred Winter. It's juvenile handicap hurdle over 2 miles. Willie's French recruit, Gaelic, can't think of his last name. Gaelic. Anyway, he's super short here, 5 for me, 5-2. Look, he could be thrown in, but for me, it's no value. And all the vibes are good about Willie's horse, but he's too short for me in a big runner handicap at Cheltenham. 2, I'm going to go with the Catch My Eye prices. 1 from the Joseph Reinhardt Champion Green. He's only entry of the week. That's a positive. Last seen when winning his maiden hurdle at Naas by 17. No, he beat 17 other rivals that day. He won by 3.5 lengths. I like the way he won that day, and he's around 8-1 at the minute. The other is from the Alan King stable, Forever William, at 20-1. His last run here was in the Triumph Trial, where he finished third to Pied Piper, who's one of he's second favourite for the Triumph Pied Piper. He made some mistakes that day. I'm sure he will learn a lot, and with a clear round, he should put him right in the mix. I think he's about 20-1 at the minute, Forever William, for Alan King. And to finish day one, we have the National Hunt Chase for amateur riders. It's over 3 miles, 6 furlongs. Statler for Willie Mullins. He's short here, 5-2, but for me, it's justified. His last start over hurdles he was third in the grade 1 behind Galloping the Champs. He's 2 from 2 over fences. Yeah, his last start over hurdles, he was third to Galloping the Champs in the grade 1. But since switching defences, he's 2 from 2. And his last included a grade 3 win. I think it could be another festival winner for owner Ronnie Bartlett. Paul Nichols 300 through 5 if he goes here, but I doubt it. He's another one. He's an each-way player. He's a winner 4 with 5 starts over fences, including an impressive display at the track in November, and he could be one here each way. But I don't think he goes here. Reading by what Paul was saying last night, I think he goes for, I'm not sure what race, but he was on about Adrian Heskin keeping the ride because he's retained to the McNeil family. So Wherever that horse turns up 300 through 5, I'd fancy. Day 2 then kicks off with the Ballymore Novices. It's over 2.5. It's over 2 miles 5, and both Willie Sir Gerhard and Dicer Dynamo, who are entered in Supreme, are still here. But they're going to split these. I'd imagine Sir Gerhard will go here, and whatever he runs here, he's going to win. Simple as. I'm not going to spend too much longer in the race. I had another each way selection, but I see today that he's not running in the race. So look, whatever one turns up here, I'd imagine Sir Gerhard. He's 11 to 10 at the minute. I'd nearly back him now before they declare him in this race, because you're going to get your money back if you don't run here, but he's going to be a lot shorter in the day if you ask me. And race 2 of day 2 is the Brown Advisory. A grade 1 Novice Chase over 3 miles, and it looks like the two big two are Bob Ollinger and Galloping the Shams. Well, Galloping the Shams, we thought this was his main target, but it turns he's going to go back for the shorter one, which I totally agree with, even though my anti-post bets would say otherwise. But for me, that reason, Brave Man's Game for Paul Nicholls, he is the one here. He's unbeaten since going over fences. He's been going from strength to strength this season. I like the way the races he's ran in. I like the way he's done it. And Bob Ollinger turns up here. I think he's a good thing. He's 7 to 4 at the minute. I think he could go off shorter on the day. Race 3 of day 2 is the Coral Cup. One of the big handicaps, hurdles. It's a grade 3 for 4-year-olds plus, over 2 miles 5. Saint Felician for the Gordon Elliott Yard. It's his only entry of the week. He was impressive in France, and then he won well on his Irish debut before finishing second in the grade 3 at Naas. He's still relatively unexposed, and there's a few quid knocking about too. That's always a plus in my eyes. He's 9 to 1 at the minute, so Saint Felician, and one if he gets in, who has some really very useful form, is from the Nicky Henderson Yard, I Am Maximin. He's around 10 to 1, but the question is, will he get in or not? If he does, he's definitely a player. The 4th race of day 2 is the feature again. It's the Queen Mother Champion Chase. Sishkin leads the market here, and rightly so. This dual festival winner and unbeaten in all bar one of his 12 starts, and that's only because he fell, is a very worthy favourite here. He had a little break at the back end of last year to have a wind up, and he's back as good as ever and bolting up in the Desert Orchard at Christmas. And then it was one of the jewels of the national season in the Clarence House at Kempton when he got up late to beat Ugarnamy by a length, who again reopposes here with his stablemate Chacon Poursois. And I'm going to take him on with Ugarnamy. I think a slightly lesser trip, and he was only ran down late. I think Paul Townend will have learned a lot from the two of them meeting and could keep his cards close to his chest. Look, it's not going to be easy, but my opinion after that was my opinion after Clarence House, and I'm sticking to it. Plus, by sports offer of finishing second or third to the SP5, it's basically a bet to nothing in my opinion. The one that could run well though, if he's back to form, is M Violin. He got back to winning ways at Leopardstown that day, and although it was only a 3-horse race, it could have sweetened him up for this former festival winner. Race 5 of day 2 is the 3 mile 6 Glenclarkis cross country race, and the legend that is Tiger Roll tops the betting. He's 2 to 1 clear favourite. Look, Tiger is an absolute dude of a horse, a 5-time festival winner and a 3-time winner in this race alone. He's one of those horses you love to see win, as he does so much good for the sport. But 2 to 1 doesn't appeal for me. That's the reason I'm going to go with stable companion Delta Work. He could bring the class to the race. A multiple grade 1 winner who has won at the festival, albeit over hurdles, but was 5th in the Gold Cup 2 years ago behind Album Photo. Plus, he's won an Irish Gold Cup. So for me, if he takes the obstacles well, he's going to be a major contender. And the other one to run well, I think, could be in the Boulder Shady Operator. Well, look, I have no... if Tiger comes home in front, I would be cheering him on. But for me, Delta Work is going to get my money in this race. The 6th race of day 2 is the 2 mile Johnny Henderson Grand Annual. It used to be the last race of the meeting one time. It's a handicap chase. as I said, it's over 2 miles. Embittered for Joseph O'Brien is the one for me here. Last year he went off favourite. We actually tipped him up, but he fell. He's since won in Killarney and Punchestown. He's been running in graded company um, since his last win. I think he's 12-1. I think it's some value for this lad. It'd be interesting to see if there's money for him, but at 12-1 for a horse that was 92 last year, but I think a little bit, he'll be spot on for the day. Two others if you run here then. Before midnight for Tam Thomas. He's got actually booked Sam Twiston Davis, which is a positive. He beat Sky Pirate here in October by 6 lengths, and he's only start at the track. And another one that I'm going to throw in, as I was watching Paul Nichols 2 nights ago last night, and he thrown this lad up for this race, is Time White. I see Bryony Fost is actually booked to ride. She won him last time out, so another one there at a bit of a price. And the 7th and final race of day 2 is the Weatherby's Champion Bumper. It's over 2 miles, and Facile Vega, the son of 6-time festival winner Que Vega, is even money favourite. But for as good as he looks, he needs to drift for me to back him here. He's looked unbelievable on both starts, especially at the Dublin Racing Festival. But I'm not going to back a horse in a bumper at even money. If he drifts closer to over 6-4 to 2-1, between 6-4 and 2-1, if he goes to that side of the bit, I'd back him for that reason. He'd be getting a bit of value. But for me, the value is with Redemption Day at 5-1. Anytime Willie's been asked about Facile Vega, he keeps mentioning this lad. And when he won his one and only start at Leopardstown, he was impressive. He beat a point-to-point winner who went down and won his bumper since. I really liked his performance that day. He done some good times too. And he gets my vote here, 5-1, Redemption Day, on the last of day 2. Halfway there. And day 3 is going to kick off with the 2.5 mile Turner's Novice Chase. And this could be one of the races, if not the race of the meeting. It looks like Galloping Deschamps is going to go here now, and he will take on Bob Allinger in one of the matchups of the festival. And also, Venetia Williams's Le Home Prezi. I'm very impressed with that horse this year. He's a bit of a danger too, but I can't desert the Galloping Deschamps. We tipped him up last year 14-1 to win the Martin Pipe. He's been absolutely awesome since. His first 2 starts over fences, he's been nothing only relentless, and I think this is the right race for him rather than the 3 miles. So for me, Galloping to make it 2 Cheltenham Festival wins. And at the minute, Bob Allinger's slight favourite. If it stays like that, Boyle Sports is second or third to the SP Fab. Money back as a free bet offer kicks in again. I think it's an absolute steal here, provided 5 or more run. Day 3's second race is the Pertemps Final Handicap Hurdle. It's a grade 3 over 3 miles. And again, a few each ways that could run here, some of the other big handicaps. But one that his only entry of the week is Dennis Cullen trained to Great View. This horse has been running in those big competitive handicaps and has been running super well without winning. I think there is a big one in him. And at 16-1, he could easily run into place. Another one that could run well, a bit of a mad one here, is the David Pipe train Panic Attack at 33-1. She was fancy for the Champion Bumper 2 years ago when she was trained by Willie on her first start and then was sold. And when the owner has horses with David Pipe and brought him there, she was the top end of the betting for the Champion Bumper. She looked good then in her first 2 starts over hurdles, and she was 2 from 4 in her first 4 starts. She recently ran the Pertemps qualifier here over the course and distance and finished 4th or 14. If she gets in, she'll be in off a lovely weight. She'll be very capable and could be very capable of running a big race. Another one with some useful form is a Harry Frine trained If the Cap Fits at 25-1, a multiple grade 2 and grade 1 winner a couple of years ago. He's an interesting one if he came back to form at 25-1. There'll be plenty of places on offer in this race. Race 3 of day 3 is the Ryanair Chase. It's a grade 1 and it's over 2.5 miles. And last year's winner, Allahoff, who tops the market here at 8-13 for Willie Mullins. And for me, he's one of these horses. I think all he needs to do is jump around to win. I'm going to make him my nap at a meeting. I know he's 8 to 13, but I actually think he could go off shorter in the day. If Conflated for Garnelli turns up, which it looks like he's likely going to be going here now, he's an entry in the Gold Cup too, but I think he'll go here because Connection sponsored the race. They like to win the race. He could potentially be a player, but for me to be all chasing Alaho's coattails. The feature race then on day 3 is the Stairs Hurdle, a grade 1 over 3 miles. Another one drawn, yeah. This is a bit of a head scratcher. Last year's winner, Flo Important, is top of the market at 7-2. And then we have Champ, Classical Dream, and Time Hill all at 9-2. And the 2019 winner, Paisley Park, at 7-1. But for me, I'm going to go with Time Hill. I fancy him from his only run this year, where he finished in behind Champ in the long walk at Ascot. That run for me looked an ideal prep for this race. Philip Hobbs is intentionally keeping him fresh. He's super consistent. I can't see him being out of the frame. The other one that I wouldn't be surprised, so for me, Time Hill is getting my vote here. But the other one I wouldn't be surprised if he goes and wins is Classical Dream. I mean, if he didn't run a goal where Willie said numerous times he shouldn't have ran him, I think he'd be 5-2 or shorter. He's definitely a huge player. He's a former Supreme winner, and he's only on his only race at the Cheltenham Festival. He could be a huge player at the business end if he runs his race. So the fifth race, is the 4:10 of day 3. It's the Plate Handicap Chase over 2.5 miles. It's a grade 3, and Fusel Raffles for Nicky Henderson for me is an eye catcher. Only entry of the week. He won a grade 2 juvenile hurdle on his British debut, and then came back to Punchestown and beat Fakadou Deriz in a grade 1. He's won twice at the track, including over the course and distance. He's won a grade 3 chase by 4.5 lengths. Only 3 starts ago, and at 12-1, actually he's 14-1 now. He's definitely an each-way player here for me. The other one I'm going to go with is the Lansing Queen for Alan King. Could run well in off a lovely weight. She's got course form, winning a bumper and was second in the grade 2 novice chase here over the trip in January. So at 8-1, I think she's a little bit of a player each way as well. The 6th race then of day 3 is the 2 mile 1 mares novice hurdle. It's a grade 2 for 4-year-olds plus. Willie Mullins is mob-handed here, and Dino Blue for me is the one. She was super in Clonmel, absolutely ran him into the ground. She pulled away from them by 15 lengths, giving Willie Mullins a 1-2-3 in the race. The second and third went and reopposed each other at Limerick. The second was odds on and looked like it was going to win, but fell. And the horse that finished third to her in Clonmel won by 14 lengths. So they're 3 absolutely very good mares in their own right, and she destroyed them in Clonmel. I think she is one of the bets of the meeting, if you ask me. She's coming in for support now as well. 9-4, that could be all gone. If they really fancy her home, it could definitely go. Brandy Love could be anything, but looks a bit too quirky. And I actually think Grangie could have beaten her if she didn't fall in Fairy House. And if she stays in, could be one to pick up the pieces if the tops don't perform. Grangie, she's super solid. But each way player in the race, again for Willie, he's got some amount of entries in this race. Horse Pista at 20-1. Beaten on debut by Shorthead, and then bolted up in Clonmel over 2 miles 3 by 16 lengths. Could be a bit of an each way player, but look, Dino Blue, want to take all the beating here for me. She could be a little bit special, this Dino Blue. To finish the action on day 3, we have the 3 mile 2 furlong Kim Muir Challenge, and this is a handicap chase for amateur jockeys. It's a bit of a spectacle to watch. It's not a race I have a whole opinion of. I had two each ways, and I looked. They don't actually stay in the race. So 2 worth mentioning. One from the Tom George yard. Come on, Teddy. Some useful form at the track, and then Nicky Henderson's Mr. Coffee. But it's not a race I have a whole opinion of. But Come on, Teddy. I think if he stays in, he's a bit of he's solid. He's good track form, and it depends on who they book for him, really, in these amateur races. And this brings us to the 4th and final day of the Cheltenham Festival. It kicks off with a 2 mile one JCB Triumph hurdle. It's a grade 1. This has been a super race down through the years. Vauban tops the market here at 13 to 8. I tipped him to win this before he's winning the grade 1 at the Dublin Racing Festival at 5-1. I'm sweetening him, but I'm on a 5, so I'm not going to back him at 13 to 8. But if he drifts closer to 2-1, I'd say he's value again. I think he'll win. I was super impressed with Leopardstown. Even though I fancied him, he still even impressed me more. I can't wait to see him come up that hill. This horse, he's a horse now that I certain horses just as they make their way through. When you're a horse racing fan or fanatic, when you make it when they come out, they can look super impressive. And some of them you like and some of them you don't. I like this lad, and I hope he's the real deal, Vauban. So one that could go close though is Gary Moore's trained Porticello. Imagine if he won here, the redemption for the Moors it would be after Goshen's painful fall in this race a few years ago with the race at his mercy. I think this lad, he's a bit of a player, this lad. He won a listed hurdle on British debut in Wetherby and then was second to Night Salute in a grade 2 before bolting up in a grade 1 in December. He ran once since and he bolted up by 16 lengths. He's a likeable horse for this race, the way he travels, and then when he's asked, he's got a good turn of foot. But for me, Vauban for win and Porticello each way. The second race of day 2 is the county hurdle. It's the grade 3 2-mile one handicap. If Stateman runs here, this is a horse now you need to take a look and see where he goes in the week. Statement for Willie Mullins. Wherever he goes, he's going to be hard to beat. He's got a bag of entries, this lad. He tops all the handicaps in the betting. Statement. But if he doesn't, and even if he does, he'll get my win money. But if he doesn't, I fancy West Cork for the Dan Skelton Yard. He's only entry of the week. A very good winner in November of the Greatwood here over the course and distance, where he beat Adagio by 3/4 of a length. Dan is specifically keeping his horses fresh. I think that will suit this lad. So I think he's going to be a major player here. He's about 9-1 at the minute. West Cork. Be fancy down around them south of Ireland, that lad. The third race of day 3 then is the Albert Bartlett. It's grade 1 for novices. It's over 3 miles. And Ginto was my main fancy here, even before Gordon took out Manila Crooner because he picked up an injury. This horse won a maiden by 5.5 lengths in Navan. Well, you know me, guys, I love a bit of Navan form. He then won him in grade 2 at Navan, where he beat Eric Bloodaxe, who was a very good horse, by 11 lengths, and then went to Naas and won a grade 1, where he beat Grand Jury by 4.5 lengths. This could be like Hillcrest is going to be his main rival here, I think. But for me, Ginto for Gordon Elliott. The nice guy for Willie. He could be an interesting runner if he lines up here. He's around 10-1. He's unbeaten in 3 starts. He won 2 bumpers before winning his maiden by 8 lengths in Naas. Over 2 miles 3 the last day. And if he could be one under the radar if the race cuts up. That's the nice guy each way. But for me, Ginto to take the win here for Gordon Elliott. And that brings us to the feature race of not only day 4 but the whole week. It's the Gold Cup. It's a tough race to find a race of normally, and this year is going to be no different. I'm going back through it for the last few weeks, and I think Henry's A+ Tard last year second is the one here. He bolted up in the Betfair Chase at head up by 22 lengths and was only beaten a short head by Galvin in Leopardstown. But I expect him to turn the form around that day and beat Galvin this time. So for me, A+ Tard, this is the only race that Rachel didn't win last year. She finished second, but I think she'll go on better here on A+ Tard. My each way player in the race is the 2-time winner, Album Fodra. I think I think at 10-1 he could be a solid each way bet here. He's kind of forgotten a horse. And that could play to his advantage and Paul's advantage, So, but for me, A+ Tard for the win and Album Photo for the win, the Gold Cup. The fifth race is the Hunter's Chase over 3 miles too. It's not a race I have an opinion of really, but Billaway puts in all in here. He let us down last year. He has to have a great chance though, and I think he could be a decent price this year. He's shown he's better than most of these when he's on, but that's the thing, you can throw on away. But I wouldn't be surprised if he wins this. So for me, Billaway in the Hunter's Chase. The sixth race then is a Mayor's Grade 2 Chase over 2 miles, 2.5 miles, and I'm going to stick with one of my naps here last year. Ellie May for Willie in the colours of JP McManus. She looked back to herself last time out. Look, I don't even need to go down through her form, but a 5-2, she represents for me the better. She's the one here. So Ellie May, she's a bit of a fan favourite, this one. And that brings us to the final race of the 2022 Cheltenham Festival. It's the Martin Pipe Conditional Jockeys Handicap Hurdle over 2.5 miles. It's for 4-year-olds plus. A race where we have found the winner of the last 2 years. And here's hoping we can sign off in style and go 3 for 3. Paul Nichols Nappers Hill is an interesting runner here. 5 from 7. 5 from 7 in his first 2 starts. And his first 2 starts over hurdles, he was, and then was beaten by John Bon in Ascot last time. He finished 6th in the Grade 3 handicap at Newbury, and it's only entry the week. 16-1 could be a bit of a price. Joseph O'Brien's Brambridge is another one that catches my eye. He's entered in the county too, so if he turns up there, he could be a 1 as well. It looks like he might go. Look, I'm not going to say where he could go. Trainers know a lot more than I do. He's around 14-1. I really like his recent form and I like him to run well. But I think I might have found one. Adamantly Chosen. This horse, I actually didn't even see him entering in this race. For Willie Mullins, I actually was tipping him to run sneakily in the Supreme Novice. He was entered in a lot of Grade 1 novices hurdles. And if he gets in here, which I think he will, Adamantly Chosen, there's money starting to come from now, which is always a positive. He won the race last year with a horse that we tipped up at a big price, bigger than this, but look, I'd like to sign off for the winner. So Adamantly Chosen, I'm sweet on here, but Nappers Hill for Paul and Banbridge for Joseph each way too. Guys, I went through all the races. Hopefully we found a few winners. I'm going to come on maybe every morning, if not, maybe Thursday morning, review the first 2 days and preview the next 2 days and see if there's any changes. There's going to be some shocks. I don't think all the favourites are going to win this year, which is a reason that Buy Sports offer, I think, is a very good offer this year. Finishing second or third to the SP5, money back's free bet. It gives you a little bit of insurance. But anyway, as I said, head over to the Buy Sports website, check out all our offers. Again, I really appreciate the support. Hit the like button, hit the share button, and hopefully we bang in a few big price winners on the week. It's going to be a fantastic week's racing. You're probably sick of me talking, so I'm going to sign off now. I will talk to you during the week. And again, always bet responsible.